Hello everyone, my name is Kieran and I am back. That's right, I'm motherfucking back. And I have my intro this time. I lost an intro ages ago. I rendered out the intro, did it, had it, and then I had it for a majority of episodes, and then for the past 3, I went on a big cleaning of my PC and accidentally deleted a lot of important shit. The Mighty Cunapple Show intro was the least of that important shit, but it was still important to me. But hello everyone, my name is Kieran, and I am joined today, I'm joined with a very special guest, a guest that I've been trying to get onto the podcast for quite some time. Quite some time actually, we fucked up Discord fucked up on us. But yes, I am joined with Adam from the Empire Waste Project. Say hello, Adam.
Hello.
How have you been doing, man?
I'm well.
Yeah, you well?
How's everything?
Yeah, doing alright, man, doing alright. Bit shitey today, I've been bored as fuck, been messing about with RPG Maker. Although, yeah, this is what I like. I was actually excited to have you on today because I finally get to talk about a lot of Fallout stuff.
Yeah.
That I don't normally talk about at like length because everyone I usually have onto the show don't really have much knowledge of Fallout, and I'm like, I want to talk about things in detail, and you just won't understand. It's like I would just be saying words to you, and you're not receiving them. But yeah, first off, like let's just cover the basics. So if you don't know what Empire Waste is, Adam, explain what Empire Waste is.
So it's a Fallout 4 mod. It's a full-fledged map. It comes with its own main quest, its own factions, its own. Basically it's a DLC, but it's made by me.
Yeah, and you were like, what was that? That was something. I just heard a Bundicot in the background there. I really should have an alert box on so I know what the fuck is happening. But Empire Wastes. What the fuck was I going to say that? I've been completely thrown by that Bundicot. Jesus, what were we talking about? Empire Wastes. Yeah, so the DLC sized add-on for Fallout. So if you guys know like Fallout Miami and stuff like that, it's like that kinda, isn't it? Yes?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same idea. So some mods, they have their own start, but this mod will be a continuation of the Soul Survivor.
Yeah.
So you can go from your current save and just hop right in.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, I remember you can actually download it on Nexus right now, can you? Like an alpha version?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have the maps up. The very beginning of the main quest is also up. You can, which is how you get to the map, because you can't just walk to New York from Boston. But yeah, so you actually take a vertibird, and it'll bring you, and it drops you off in Central Park, which is to the north end of Manhattan.
Ah, right, yeah.
I tried to keep the story so it brings you in a set direction, and you actually make kind of like a loop. You go down the south tip of the island, because it's an elongated island, and once you get there, you have to hop the river a little bit, but then eventually you have to go back to the vertibird to leave. So it's you'll see the entire island in the map.
It's like the New York City Marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
No, actually, like I was going to applaud you, and I think it was one other developer that did it, where you actually did release the map, and you have no idea how useful that is in terms of actually giving me content and letting me have like gameplay, because there's one thing I hate when I'm doing videos is where I have to reuse the same clip over and over and over and over again,
right?
From like the same developer, and I like going in there and getting like the cinematics and stuff like that. So I'm glad I could do that with Empire Way. So if you guys are wondering if you want more details about it, you're gonna get details during the podcast. But if you want like a little concentrated dose, you can go watch my video on it.
Yes.
Yeah. You
did a good job.
Thank you. I like that video. I'm always like I always get blushed when one of you guys are like, "Oh, that was good." I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
It was funny because like I enjoy the even. It could be a little bit too big. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, like after that I became more excited about Empire West, I must admit, because like I think I said in the video as well, where I'm like, there is other Fallout New York projects, but this one is more interesting because it's actually a sequel isn't it?
Mhm.
Like Into the Ark
Yes.
was the first mod.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I've actually not played that one yet. Was it Fallout 3 New Vegas one?
It was a Fallout 3 one, yeah.
Fallout 3 one, yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of released that one a little bit earlier than I had planned. It's technically unfinished. Like the main quest is definitely finished, but like all the side stuff I wanted to do for that, I kind of dumped because it was for Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas had already come out, and then they announced Fallout 4. So I was like, okay, if I wait too long, no one's gonna play Fallout 3 anymore,
Oh
which is kind of
yeah.
true. So I was like, all right, let me just finish this, get it out, and then then I played Fallout 4 for a year. um, but the Fallout 3 mod actually it's the main quest was, it told you like, oh, you're supposed to go to New York, but then the plot twist is that you can't, you physically can't make it to New York, and there's two reasons. One is the train line that you're supposed to follow is broken.
Right.
But the other thing was that where it gets into Manhattan, for Americans or New Yorkers, they might know that there's a big hub right there. It's called Penn Station, for the Pennsylvania Railroad, and it's currently in a crater, so you can't go regardless. So there's really not an easy way to get from New Jersey, which is on the other side of the Hudson, into Manhattan. So in the Fallout 3 mod, you never actually make it to New York. It's all alluded to. They talk about it, but you never actually physically get there.
Yeah, right.
So you stay in New Jersey. And then I also made sure that in the Fallout 4 mod that it's not too heavily reliant on knowledge from Fallout 3. So if you have played the mod or played Fallout 3, like there'll be little Easter eggs, but it's not, contingent on you understanding what's going on.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. I think a really good sequel always sort of needs that, where it's like everything like every entry could be a good entry point,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I didn't want to ostracize anyone because I know a lot of people who played Fallout 4 never played Fallout 3, or maybe even didn't play Fallout New Vegas. But so there will be, characters that show up again. But again, if you haven't met them before, they still introduce you, because the sole survivor is not the same person that was sent. So, he or she is learning just like the player is. So it works out.
So I actually jotted down so I wouldn't forget to ask you, but like every time in one of my videos, every time I mention New York, there's always a ton of comments saying New York is a crater. That's nuked to fuck. That doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, I wonder if you get the same comments.
Yes, I do. On everything I post, there's at least one person who's like, "No, New York's a crater." I'm like, "Well, New York's also just gigantic metropolitan area. Like it's not one giant crater." So there's definitely nuclear areas where New York was definitely hit by nuclear bombs. But not all of New York was. And the other thing about New York is it's split into different boroughs that are actually on different islands. So Manhattan is its own island, and then you have Queens and Brooklyn to the east. You've got the Bronx to the north. You've got Staten Island to the southwest. Like these are complete different areas, so they weren't all hit the same way. And they also got their own flavor. So if you're in the Upper East Side versus Brooklyn, like the architecture is different, the feeling is different. So I continued on with that, and then I just added into Manhattan the fact that there's giant craters. So there's certain areas that are basically like an urban Great Sea, or glowing sea rather. So there's definitely destroyed areas, but then when you go far away from that, you've still got the built up areas.
That's great.
So yeah,
it's I'm really glad that you haven't really restricted yourself, as in not only are you just making the map just Manhattan alone. I'm glad about that, because like as someone who's never been to the US before and has only been and only knows New York that is Manhattan. Like I only know New York because of Manhattan. It's it is literally, but it is nice to it would be nice to go to all these other places as well, like Queens and
it's the Manhattan is where the tourist trap is, but that's not all of it. So anyone who's a New Yorker from around here would be very upset if I only included Manhattan.
It's like, that's not Fallout New York, that's Fallout Manhattan.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah. What was I gonna? Oh damn! I keep. I'm just getting really interested. See this. How long do you think this is going to be? Actually, I don't think I've asked.
How long like the play is?
The playthrough of the mod. You have
So
like an
it
estimate?
depends. You in the same way that I didn't finish the Fallout 3 mod, but
Ah,
the
oh,
Fallout 3 mod, the main quest is finished.
yeah.
And that varied. I've watched different people play, and certain people would take hours upon hours of playing, and one person beat it in 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
it really depends on your play style.
Yeah.
Like the one girl who did it was I think she was trying to do it like a speed run or something, because she just
Yeah.
like whammed through all the dialogue and just ran everywhere. But most people, especially since it's a new map, they haven't seen it before, will take the time to explore.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the time. Ideally, I will finish the main story first and then flesh out from there.
Yeah.
That way, I have at least something to put out first for
Mm-hmm.
hungry people.
Oh yeah, people are fucking determined, man. Jesus, especially when it comes to mods as well. They
Yeah,
are not patient. They're patient enough for the games, but they're not patient enough for the mods.
yeah.
Jesus.
Like I've gone through and I'm doing the planning ahead of time, so that way I know what I'm doing, so it's not just like jam packed for the hell of it.
Yeah.
So the ideal ending when I finish all parts, your main quest itself will only be I don't know, maybe 3 hours normal, because it's very short as a main quest.
Right.
Hey, Goofy.
It's a goofy goober. I know. I seen them. I was like, oh yeah, should I acknowledge him? I don't want to interrupt him. Yeah.
No, yeah. Yeah, I posted the link on a few places too.
Ah, right. Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Hello, new people.
It's hello. We're talking about the mod. What was I saying? I forgot already.
You were talking about the main campaign being 3 hours long, the main
Oh,
quest.
right.
Yeah.
So like the main campaign's about 3 hours long, because it's basically a follow the breadcrumbs. It's find out where someone is. You get there, then there's a choice you can make, but regardless of that choice, it still sends you up back to where you came from.
Yeah.
So without giving too much away, the main quest itself is not that long. However, in order to complete that main quest, you're going to end up going through all these other areas, because
Right,
Manhattan's not just one giant city in the
yeah.
post-apocalypse. It's split up into small city-states.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're very allowed to just run past all of it, if you really wanted to, in which case, sure, your gameplay is only going to be 3 hours.
Yeah.
But then, if you actually go through all of it, it's going to take you quite some time.
Do you know what? I like that actually, because that instantly, when you just started talking about that there, it instantly reminded me of the Outer Worlds recently.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you played that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Where it's like every time you hit a new main quest, you're always forced to do multiple side ones. And they're called side quests, but they're actually really main quests.
Yeah. Like you can't, I mean, you can just ignore them, but if you don't, it's like
if you don't, you're missing out on so much content.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
And another thing that I wanted to bring back from like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas was your choice is actually making a difference. So there is like a bit of an ending to the mod. You'll still be able to come back to the city, but then your actions or inactions will have a result on that city. So different areas will get better or get worse. Different people will get stronger or die, depending on these choices that you make through the game. And it's not going to be... I tried to do it more of the Fallout New Vegas style morality. Not going to be like, this is good guy good and this is bad guy bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes in order to help one person, you got to screw another person over. So it's like, okay, you got to balance out your stuff. So there's no just straight answer.
I like that, because that's like I've been reflecting a lot on like New Vegas recently, and I never appreciated while playing it the fact that everyone is in this morally grey area, where like the NCR is not good guy good, and even the Caesar's Legion is not good bad guy bad,
Right.
But unlike Fallout 3, where it's like you are forced and you have to perceive the Enclave as this big terrible threat, and you have to fight alongside the Brotherhood.
Yeah, because like in the mod, the base of the quest is you're helping one person from the Brotherhood a little crazy, but you don't actually have to side with Brotherhood in order to do this because
That's
you're
good.
actually kind of going in not willingly.
Oh, right,
so,
okay.
it doesn't take your factions, although there will be a few times where your dialogue will change depending on if you've gone through the main game and you sided with a certain faction over another. But the game itself, you're not sided with the Brotherhood. You're sided with literally one guy who is from the Fallout 3 mod, and it's actually a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing where the Fallout 3 mod, again, I didn't really finish. Like, it's not polished as much as I'd like it to be, and you don't actually go back to the guy who gave you the quest to say like, "Hey, I finished." So I kept that as canon, and so the lone wanderer never made it back to this guy, so he just never got his answer. So he kind of just went crazy and kept sending other people who just never came back. So by this time, which is 10 years later than Fallout 3, he's just completely batshit insane. But so he'll send you, and the main enemy, which it's not really a spoiler because it tells you right in the first 5 minutes of the game, is the Enclave. But the Enclave is not the Enclave that you knew from before. Oh, doggy. Bye, doggy.
I was like, I wonder if he's going to notice that my headphone disconnected. I've got like my dog was barking at the door. Then I was like, all right, let's just not say anything. And then he came in. I was trying to just like pet him or something, but he just kept running across the fucking room and trying to get food. And I was like, fuck. Oh, I am so sorry about that one. I'm so sorry.
No,
oh man. But yeah, like a question I was gonna ask, just in relation to like quests and stuff like that. See the overall like story and like the scripts, like not like coding scripts or, but just like the script in general for the story. Is that like all being completed, or are you still working on that?
The main quest script is complete. The side quest scripts for a lot of the cities are complete. Some of the side areas are not complete yet. Just because I want them to intertwine with each other, so it's a little bit more complicated than just writing out a story. For most of them, I have like the base, like what they are, what their main thing is, and then the ending I kept open because I'm trying to still work that out. But yeah, for the main quest is written and done with multiple endings and multiple paths. So that's ready. I just have to finish physically making the areas for this to happen. Because one of the things I realized while using the creation kit is in order to make a quest with quest markers, you have to make references. And if you make the references before you really finish the programming the quest, it doesn't work. It likes to freak out. So I basically have to make the physical area first, then tick off everything, and then it's like, okay, now I can make the quest. So I'd like it if I could not do it in that order, but I guess I just have to.
I dabbled a little bit in the creation kit when I was like I tried to do like this machinima show ages ago, and I was like, oh, I want to get them to do I want them to like lip sync with the actual voices. And so I was like, okay, I'll try and learn how to make NPCs and stuff like that, and like companions and things. Did that. I had such a horrible time just trying to make them. And then afterwards, actually, I had such a bad time doing it. I was like, I'm just not going to do this.
They definitely don't make it easy for you.
Oh, man. I understand why. But I think it's just like I'm not that sort of patient of a person. I'm a patient person, but there's like an extra layer of patience you need for this sort of stuff.
I mean, I am a patient person, and even to me, sometimes I'm just like, what the hell?
Oh, man. Let's see. What was been the worst like creation kit crash you've had?
Well, I mean, just recently the month loss, where that was my fault though. I keep a backup. I try to do it at least once a week so that I don't lose too much progress. But I just didn't for the whole month of December, and then starting on the 29th, something went wrong, and it just went downhill from there. And by a couple days ago when I was doing it, I couldn't do anything without it crashing. was like, what the hell? So the whole program just like wasn't working. Like any of the menus, you'd open it up and it'd be empty. It's like, how is this menu empty?
Yeah.
So it was like there's something fundamentally wrong, and it wasn't the creation kit. It was like the mod file. Because if I did a different mod, or if I made a new mod or whatever, like those were all fine. So I ended up having to revert to the most recent backup, which again worked because it's a different mod. So hey, that was on me.
Jeez, I would have stressed the fuck out if that happened. God damn. Like, to be fair though, the month of December, I think it was bad for Fallout in general.
Yeah,
all
that's
across
true
the board.
too.
With have you seen like the 76 stuff with the hackers and shit like that?
God, yeah.
Oh, I'm assuming you have. Oh man.
Yeah, like I was playing it, and then the one thing where the people can steal everything, I just stopped. And I was like, all right,
I stopped playing it. I want to say just before I started university, so about September. And the reason why I stopped is because I just got so bored after a while. Where I was just like, I don't know, I just can't really, I can't get engaged with the quests or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
like I gotta say, like this new thing that's coming out, the Wastelanders.
Yeah, Wastelanders.
That's gonna be the make or break. Because if it sucks, then that game is irredeemable.
Yeah,
but if it does good,
yeah,
exactly.
Sorry.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, I know. The Wastelanders thing is like, I keep saying to people, don't. Actually, a few people of mine, like over Christmas, they've received Fallout 76 as a gift. And I'm like, hey, it's the worst time to fucking get it as a gift. And B, if you're going to get it and you're going to play it, wait until the Wastelanders thing, then you get a better first impression, maybe, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And you won't have to.
Or maybe play it like just.
Yeah.
Without it, and then you see it come in.
Yeah,
because it's interesting. Have you noticed that the day repeats itself? You're in like a Groundhog Day.
Does it?
Yeah. The if you check your
the dates.
Yeah, it's the same day over and over and over, and that's supposedly why the nuclear blasts just like reset themselves because it doesn't continue time.
Right.
So it's the same day. It's always Reclamation Day, and supposedly when this Outlanders come out or Wastelanders come out, it'll be 2 years later or something like that, where it's again one day specifically, but it'll be a different day.
That's weird. That's insanely strange. Never thought about that once. Oh, that's
it's a weird little detail.
Yeah.
But
Imagine that. It's like you built. Actually, you explored the entirety of the wasteland. You've built a town essentially, and you did that over the course of a day. The same day over and over and over again. The thing is with that, they really should have just added that song from Groundhog Day and just put it on the radio. That's the first. Seriously. The second it hits midnight, that's the first song you hear. Oh man.
Well, because it kind of makes sense. Because if you've been playing, comes. It's like, wait, I thought you didn't have air in there.
Yeah. Oh, my dog is barking at my door.
Oh, doggy.
Take over, Adam. Go. Come the podcast.
But yeah, so the 76 was good. I actually enjoy it as far as the gameplay goes. It's definitely a far cry different than most of the other Fallout games. I enjoyed it enough. It's definitely better with friends. It's not as fun when you're single player, and it also changes its own difficulty, so it's harder to be single player, which is fine. But doing it multiplayer is definitely a much better experience.
Yeah.
And then the free or double XP weekend and free weekend is coming this weekend. I know I'm going to be playing for the double XP.
Is that 76?
Yeah, 76.
Right, okay. Yeah, definitely play the game with fucking friends. Definitely play the game with friends. Actually, that's why I wanted to talk about it, because my mate Dan, who was on the early podcast, he said to me the other day, he's like, Kieran, I've actually re-downloaded 76. I'm like, why? Like, you? Like, really? That's weird. And he's like, yeah, because I've got a better PC now. I'm gonna try and like get into it and play it. And I'm like, you always got bored when you were playing it though. So what was it? Is this some sort of Goldilocks thing? Is this some sort of nostalgia glasses that you're having here? What's been how it's happening? And then I gave him the same spiel about the whole Wastelanders thing, but I think he's still downloading it. He's still re-downloading it, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. But the double XP thing though, that's promising. That's cool. I think my guy's like level 40 or something.
Yeah, I'm like 30 something,
Yeah.
but I was playing the last free weekend, and actually that was another Bethesda fuck up where I bought him the game, or I gave him money and he bought the game, even though it was a free weekend. But he bought it because during the free weekend it's half off. And after the free weekend had ended, we go to play, and they're like, "No, you have to buy the game." He's like, "I already bought the game." He's like, "No, you have to buy the game." It's like, I have the receipt. It says I bought the game. Like, yeah, it was so stupid. It's like, you want people to play the game.
Yeah.
Don't screw them over for buying the game. And it took him like a week to fight with Bethesda to get it like unlocked or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
insane.
I have the receipt. Like, how is this a problem?
Yeah, like I don't know how there should be that much of a struggle if you do have a legitimate receipt of the purchase. You know, like there should be no argument there. No argument.
Yeah, it's not like we went through a third party or something. No, we bought it direct from Bethesda.
Yeah. From
the Bethesda website. A digital copy. Like, you have records, I have records. How is this an issue?
Oh man, fucking Bethesda. But you want to know a good game? Like, see, just talking about the whole like playing with friends there, and like I've put on my earphones just as you said that. I'm like, yes, that's fucking true. Speaking of that though, I played. I don't know if you watched the video recently, but there's this fan game called Atomic MP. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I managed to hop into a session with the developers the other day, and it was really good. Like, mate, I was really surprised how well it ran on my PC.
That's awesome. Like, I saw the video you made, and I was looks really good.
Yeah, and like. The only gameplay I seen was from them, and so I'm like, okay, I wonder what like the gameplay is going to be like now. Because when I got into the call with the head developer Morgan, he was saying to me, he's like, "Oh yeah, all that." I was kind of cringing because like all that gameplay you showed was like fucking ages ago, and I'm like, "It's the only gameplay you had, man." And so I hopped in, recorded the session, and fucking hell, the game. Like even when the thing, I just want to emphasize this: my fucking PC is shit. Just saying that, dog shit. 76, it can run on it. Like, I can record videos in 76, but the game just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel nice. Right. You know, it doesn't flow well. The frames are not great. That's mainly because of them. But then when I go into this, a Unreal Engine Fallout game that's multiplayer, the game ran fine. Frames consistent. Even when I'm recording, I'm like, there's this. I think it's like mainly one guy making that. Mainly. And he can do a better job. It's like,
yeah,
it's insane. Fucking creation engine. How do you feel about the creation engine, Ashley?
Like the one that for Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an improvement over 3. I can tell you that. It doesn't really match up with a lot of the other games that have been coming out, but it's interesting. The back end of it is not exactly user friendly, but once you start getting a handle of it, it's pretty good. You can actually do quite a bit. Yeah. Like, I was surprised. Did you actually play when you downloaded it, or did you just use like console to commands to get to the cells?
Oh no, I went into like a container crate. It was like a location thing. I did all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So when you go in there and there's that cryo canister that explodes.
Oh right, yeah.
Like that. Like, I was just surprised that I was able to do it as easily as I was, because it seemed like it was going to be harder. So it's things are doable. I'm still seeing what's possible, which is fun.
That's good. It's like you can always just test the boundaries, and then even when you hit the boundary inspires creativity. So like
exactly,
you have that. You don't want like a massive sort of engine where it is too easy, because I've seen like a lot of developers use engines like that, and their games don't end up great in terms of performance or anything like that. And so but like, see, even like what I've seen a lot with Fallout and like Skyrim and stuff like that, a lot of people complain about the graphics. I think the graphics are fine.
I think
like,
the graphics are fine.
Yeah,
especially with like modding, you're able to add in.
Oh yeah.
But like the the engine itself making the 3D models, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's just a bunch of like graphic nuts out there, but they were just constantly comparing it to like Cyberpunk, and I'm like, that's because Cyberpunk came out 5 years after Fallout 4.
Yeah, it's coming out in the future, and it's a different setting. It's in an modern urban, so there's going to be neon light.
You
don't have in Fallout 4.
Yeah,
you're going to have like living and moving vehicles and buildings and things like which you don't have in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Even the difference between Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 is a difference because you're now mostly in the woods of mountains. So like the way that the sun hits everything, it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and it's all up to your own artistic interpretation, because I've seen different people play with completely different EMBs, and you get different experiences. So it's going to be dependent on what you like, and that's really subjective too. So not two people are going to really, say the same thing.
Yeah, I just thought of this question, and it's actually really one that interests me a lot. Actually, how long have you been working? This is part one, but how long have you been working on Empire Wastes?
So this mod is about a year and a couple months.
Months.
I think I started November of 2017, 18, I think. And then now it's January of 2020. So yeah, a year.
Yeah, too long. When's the mod coming out? When can I play it? Technically, you can play it right now, but but like, where I was leading with that is that every time I'm working on a creative project, and this is just I know like it's a massive leap between like game development and then like video production, and I'm not talking about like YouTube production, but like just TV production and all that in general. I'm usually, when I'm working on something, my mind sort of kind of gets a wee bit out of control in terms of creativity. In terms of like, I have the scope for it, but then I can't like narrow it down and then keep it narrowed down. Like it always has to go out of the water. It has to be like completely crazy and just undoable. And I was wondering, like, have you do you put like any restrictions on yourself? Do you know or do you in general just like
I personally I swear I've got like for too long.
So your microphone cut out there.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
You hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you now,
yeah. I must have some type of attention problem. Stay in one section for too long. I try to do it, and I think I mentioned it earlier when I was using Google Maps, because I'm creating the whole island as is. It's a little bit of a different scale, but it's still physically there. And I've split it up into a grid, and I'm like, okay, I'll work on one square of this grid, and that way I can focus on that, because otherwise I'm just like every which way, because I'll start working on something, think of another thing, go to that thing, forget about the first thing. And it's like I go back to it one day, and it's like, what the hell was I doing? Man. I actually recently I wrote up a document that basically has all the details that I want to get in there, so I don't forget things. Because otherwise I'll have like half finished stuff, and I don't do that.
Exactly. Like my mind, right? Like I'm always working on about 10 plus projects, like average, and every time and that's why like every time I load up Google Chrome, I have like my second monitor is just filled about 15 tabs of Google Docs that are fully paged out, filled to the brim with ideas that I want to work on. And I'm always like, if I'm like trying to nail down one idea, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be working on this one. That's it. I'm working on this one for the next day. And a couple hours goes by, and I'm like, I want to work on this idea now. I'll do that one later, and I don't return to it in like a month. And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I'm very much like that in terms of like the attention span. And
I also noticed too, like if I focus on one thing for too long, I kind of get stale. Exactly. So switching between different things helps. I'm also on a couple of other teams, like I'm on Fallout London, Fallout Miami.
So when I
get really stuck on something,
I'm gonna cross the legs for this one. Jesus. I was
But
like,
when I
oh,
get stuck on something, I'll
yeah,
open up something that they wanted to do, so it's a complete different view of something. So
yeah. See, I was actually gonna like one of the things I had written down to like fallback questions, in case I sit down and I'm just silent. I'm like, I have no idea what to say. One of my fallback questions was about your development history and like what other things you're like working on. And the second you mentioned Fallout London and Fallout Miami, I'm like, oh, hello, hello. We'll get to those in a wee minute, Adam. Don't mind me. Well, but let's go to the development past, like just you in general.
well,
Like
like not just Fallout, but in
yeah,
general. I've been doing things since middle school where I had a game maker, and I would
uh,
just recreate Fallout, or not Fallout, recreate Legend of Zelda, recreate like Tetris 1947, different games. So like a lot of the programming I learned early on, like the basic logic behind it,
hmm.
the if-then statements and how things
Oh,
work.
yeah,
Uh, and then going into high school, I would get things like Civilization where you can mod it using Python. So I was, making different maps and making different
hmm.
campaigns for different games that would have that capability.
Yeah,
And once I got into college, that was when I really had, okay, Fallout,
yeah,
love Fallout. Fallout has Creation Kit.
hmm.
I learned Creation Kit basically by doing, and then I just, I made the Fallout 3 mod, and I made a Fallout New Vegas mod, which is much smaller than any of the other mods, but still at least something for New Vegas.
yeah.
And now I'm on 4.
Jesus. See, like when you just said there's like learning stuff back in school. I took a game dev class back in school last year at high
Oh,
school, and I liked my game. My
yeah.
teacher did not like my game because it was like a fucking right. The game was called Detective Nigel Morningwood, and that's where I came up with the name Nigel Morningwood. And first of all, you did not like that name whatsoever. But like the game was like you're a detective in the what was it? What the fuck? I don't know. It's like the underground. I think I called it the underground world, but it was like it's basically hell or like purgatory or like afterlife essentially, and you're going around solving murders. But it was very much like a Fallout sort of thing, where it's like open world, and there was like choice and consequence, and there was like dialogue trees, and then there was like the dialogue box and stuff like that. And I created the art for it and everything, and I was like, I'm proud of this shit. I've been working on this for a year, fantastic. And and I made all this. I don't know. I don't know if you know the program. Maybe you do. Called Scratch.
Scratch.
You ever
No.
Scratch? It's like the mascot for it is a wee yellow cat. But it was
Oh,
you might know.
I think I've seen it. I haven't
Yeah.
used it, but I've
Oh,
seen
it's basically the simple as fuck. It's like primary school. Oh, I don't know primary school. It's like kindergarten level of simple, and where it's like you have to connect the blocks and all that together, and that's your code. And at the end of the year, I was like, the game's not done, but
it.
it's playable and it's
Mhm.
fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I showed it to my teacher, and he's like, "What's the point?" And I'm like, what was the point? Mate, you're exploring this world, there's dialogue trees, you're trying to solve a murder, and he's like, but why would I want to play this? And I'm like, that you're not the
The
target audience,
experience.
maybe? It's like the target audience is people like me, the people like RPGs and stuff like that. And he's like, look over there, Kieran. See that lassie, she's making Pong. I wanted to see something like Pong. I wanted to see something, simple, easy to play. I didn't want to fucking dive down into an RPG. I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck. I am proud of my project, and I got like a
Yeah.
C.
Jesus
And I'm
Christ.
like, well, sorry if
That's
you don't
ridiculous.
like it, but I liked it, and
Yeah.
that's the most important part. Um,
I used to hate that in college when they're like, you
yeah,
did too much.
yeah,
I'm gonna mark you down for that. It's like, what?
yeah. I think it's like when it comes to like creative projects, any learning environment. Oh man, it's the most stressful thing on the fucking planet. Stressful
Mm.
thing, because teachers don't because it is like creativity is a lot of it is a very sort of personal and thing, if you want to call it
Mm.
that.
No,
And
yeah.
yeah, and so teachers don't really or might not have the same mindset as you do or the same creativity as you do, and
Mm.
so they grade you on their perspective
Yeah.
instead of your perspective, which I had recently, by the way. I got graded on a fucking thing in university. I'm no proud of that. I passed. Yeah.
At least you
passed.
passed.
I passed. I liked my script. Lecture did not though. Fucking. I can't
like,
say anything publicly. Yeah, no.
I'll say it's a big difference from when you actually put out a game or put out a mod or something. Because for Fallout 3, the mod that came out, like, you know, it's on the Nexus and people post comments and was 99% positive. And a lot of them were like genuinely like, this is really good, and like that made me happy. You know, because like, you know, I'm not making it for myself, I'm making it for other people. So seeing other people enjoy it was really good to see.
Yeah, that's especially if it's something you've been working on for such a long time. And you finally, you're nervous about getting out there, but when you get it out there and people actually like it and enjoy it, it's really good, really good. But let's talk about Fallout London. Let's start with London. Fuck it. How did you manage to get into that team?
So that one, I think I was on Miami first. I don't even remember.
Let's start with Miami first, actually. How'd you get
it? So, Miami, I was reached out by the original guy, Mika. Yeah. He saw between Fallout 3 and what I had been working on for Fallout 4, he had seen you know, images and things. So he had reached out and he's like, "Oh, would you be interested?" Yeah, sure. He messaged me on Nexus, I think. And you know, I had no idea what it was. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, let me see that." I've never been on a team. And all of a sudden, you know, he invites me to the Discord channel, and there's, you know, tens of people. This is a lot of people. But it's cool, and like to see a much different design, like a much different environment and feeling. It's cool, and like each of these mod projects have much different organization.
Right. Yeah, I've heard about that actually. Yeah.
Like Fallout Miami, the team is much more kind of like industry standard, where it's, you know, there's teams that are very much made up. They do periodic, you know, checkups of like, hey, how is this team doing? How's this team doing? And then also on the individual level, like, hey, your you know, your project for this, how is this doing? So it's good because there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of guidance. So it's not like 30 different people are making 1/30th of a game and then they just put it together. It's one game being worked on together, which is good.
Sounds a lot more professional.
Yeah, it really is. And the people in it are good. And you'll, after some time, you'll notice like who is more or less professional, because they'll be the ones that stay the longer. So, you know, there's maybe 5 people that I've worked with consistently in the Miami team, and they're definitely, like, in my opinion, very high regard. And then I see other people, you know, posting, but I don't really interact with them, so I don't have an opinion of them. But especially too if they're like on something completely different. If they're like sound design, I have no idea what's going on. Which is actually kind of another thing where, you know, Miami is a very big project. Like they've got their own radio, they've got their own background sounds, like everything. Like it's almost its own game. Whereas London is also a large thing, and they also have their own stuff, but kind of like on a smaller scale. And also like the organization is a little bit more almost it's kind of funny. It's kind of British, where it's like an individual in charge, and then it branches out below. So like the organization is different in that regard, but it also works. It's its own. Not exactly.
The one person works for the top person, and the top person works for the top.
But I mean, it's its own thing. So it works in a different. It still works, you know. They also have their own teams. They've got their teams of 3D artists. They got their CK people. They've got the writers and stuff. But It's a different feeling, not just as far as the product made, but also like the team itself.
Yeah.
But it's both of them work. They're both perfectly valid, and they both have their strengths. And then you've got me, where I'm really just me. So there's really no organization, so that's a little bit easier. But then it's also everything's on me. So
Yeah. Oh man. It's
and you actually see a lot of cross communication between different projects. So like I'm on those two projects, but I'm also like in the communities of other ones, like the Motor City, the Capital
Motor
Wasteland,
City, yeah.
Badlands, stuff like that. Like,
Badlands, yeah, I love those guys.
And I'll see them. I'll see like the same people, same chats, and like they'll work together. And there's a little bit of the quid pro quo. It's like, I'll help you with this, you help me with that, and it's good to see.
Yeah.
Because none of us are getting paid. So, it's a labor of love. You work on something, you don't want anyone else to get screwed over. You want them to succeed just as much as you want to succeed yourself.
I love the following modding community, especially because I like when you were talking about all the people in the chats and stuff like that. I would say I'm pretty much now in every big mod Discord, like every fucking one, just in there in the darkness studying you all. And I remember ages ago, I think it was like months ago, where I seen an advertisement for the Confederation of Modders Discord. I don't know if you're in that one. Yeah. That one's exclusively just for modders working together, and I was like, that is just brilliant. I think that's just fantastic. Whoever came up with that and went through that idea and made that Discord, fucking bravo on them, because that's really cool. I like that. I just love, I love the community. It's cool.
Yeah, it's perfect because they'll post their questions.
Yeah, just everyone sort of helping each other out.
Yeah, and like a lot of, or almost all of us, but never really, Bethesda doesn't have a sit-down class of how to do things.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a lot of us have to reverse engineer things. So some things are easy because it'll be a little bit more intuitive, but then some things are more complicated.
Yeah.
So depending on what it is. Either everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll help you, or other people help you figure it out.
Yeah.
And it also benefits you because when you help someone else learn something also that you don't know, you'll end up learning it yourself. So you never know if you'll need that information in the future.
Yeah. That's like the only sort of comparison I can make to that there was just like the machinima thing that I was working on as well, where I'm trying to learn how to do things, and there isn't like a textbook guide to it, and so you have to like go to like, what's the word for it? Something means out of the ordinary means. How do you say that? What is that saying? God, that's gonna annoy me now. Fuck.
The means to an end?
No means to an end. It's like you go out the beaten path and to find something. Fuck. What was I saying? What is that? I'll find out later. Don't worry, like it'll come back to me. I'm just like, I missed out on this stupid, simple saying. God damn it. But yeah, basically that. And so, where was I going with that? Fucking don't know. My brain has just been all over this podcast. All over this goddamn podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Jesus, I'm just sitting here fucking relaxing, listening to Adam speak about modding. And it's been really enjoyable to listen to you speak about modding, actually. I've been really interested in hearing you speak. Really
glad.
It's nice to...
in the chat, a lot of these people are people I know. Enviousness and I have made a couple like little mini games. We did a space shooter once, like a 2D space shooter.
Right, okay.
Where Envious did the art and then I did the programming.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, okay, make a ship, then make a ship where it's like damaged, make the bullets, make the enemies damaged, etc. And then I would program it, and then we made like a single level of this space shooter. And it was actually really fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm not as good with the graphics, so I was able to do that together. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we've done other things too, like smaller things, but they didn't finish. And then he's part of this thing called the Game Jam, Global Game Jam.
Oh, the Game Jam. Right.
Yeah. So a group of our friends from college do it all the time. They do it every January. Actually, it should be coming up, right? I think it's coming up. But yeah, every January a bunch of them come and then they make a game of the weekend. So it's really amazing.
Yeah.
They too are, they split off into different teams. So they have the graphics team, they got the programming team, and then the writing team, and then the three of them go together and make a game in the span of like 3 days.
Jesus.
And it's amazing to see like all the games and they do a theme, so they'll give you something, and sometimes it's like concrete, like friendship or something like that, and then there'll be something like really vague, like a circle. So it's like, all right, what am I supposed to do with this? But to see like how different people take the same theme and go in completely different directions, is really, really interesting. And to see like the skill and the talent of these people who are not necessarily in the industry at all. Most of those people are all just interested. It's not like their job or anything.
Just doing it for fun.
And like a lot of us were in college when we did it, weren't in. I'm an engineer. Other people in maybe computer science, but not necessarily game design. So like Envious says, last year's theme was home. So all the games had to have that as a theme, but every game was different. So it's always interesting to see. And a lot of the games too you'll see online because they'll post it and you can play them. So people from all around the world get to play your game.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, like there's been a few Game Jam games that stood out to me. There was one where it was you play as like a radio DJ, and you were getting like calls in from just random people, and you had to help them navigate their area because they were being chased down by a serial killer. And like the entire game was just inside this little tiny studio where a radio DJ plays, and you're not even moving around, you're just taking up phone calls and you have to just navigate people. It's so simple but really good.
I'm just gonna say, if I get chased by a serial killer, I'm not calling
you're
the
not
radio
calling
station.
the radio station. Yeah. Fucking hell.
It's a good game, but
he's probably just listening to it on Spotify and he's like, oh, I should call him right now. It's like, no, I don't think so. I think you do. You have a phone on you. Clearly.
I think you need your priorities checked.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you deserve to die. So like fuck. It's like easy target for a serial killer. He's targeting all these people that would call a radio station immediately. 3 in a row.
Actually, speaking of radio stations, so there is a custom radio station for the Fallout 4 mod
for Empire West.
And it's for the Empire West. So it's a it's an interesting thing because it's Renaissance radio and Renaissance DJ. And the thing about the radio though is it's also on its own little Groundhog Day. And as you'll listen to the radio, you'll get commercials because it's actually a repeat of the day before the bombs fell. Yeah. So October 22nd as opposed to the 23rd. Okay. And it'll say the same commercials over and over, and all kind of like it's almost the weekend, etc. And then it's just on loop. And eventually you're going to be able to find where that is, and you have the option of continuing it, and you'll be able to hear what happened on the 23rd, and you'll get the live from this radio DJ what's going on, because it'll be like, hey, whatever is enacted. But again, in the game lore, a lot like that happened a lot. So most people didn't pay attention. Like this air raid sirens are going off, and everybody's just walking around like normal. So like listening to it will have emotions.
Emotions.
Because it's going to be the day of the bombs. Like,
the radio DJ just says that to describe the scene. Emotions. Just air raid sirens going off the background. Jesus Christ. Oh man.
Because we have the benefit of knowing what happened.
Yeah.
So up until the end of the second day, you'll know what happened, but you're watching other people who don't know what happened.
That's really cool, Ashley. I do like that. I was hoping for you to say it's like, oh yeah, you can continue it, or you become your own radio DJ and you just move that.
Well, because you'll have multiple options.
Yeah.
To continue it, and in doing so, it'll continue to the next day, and then it'll just cut off. It'll be silent afterwards.
Oh, right, okay, right. What happens if you don't continue it?
Well, you have the option of just letting it
Yeah.
And then you have the option of editing what's going on. But
All right. Okay. Last song that plays before the bombs. I don't want to say it. Atom bomb, baby. It's just something that comes in. You're like, at least I'm dying in style, I suppose. That explains a lot of the corpses you see in Fallout, actually.
Yeah, seriously.
They're just in weird positions. You're like, right, okay. Jesus Christ.
I do have the.
I'm sorry, your mic cut out there.
Oops, sorry. I do have the teddy bears and the gnomes.
Oh, good. Do you have a Jangles the monkey?
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere in there's.
Jangles the monkey.
One of the things I really wish I had from '76 are just like basic, items. Like, there's no bicycles in any of the Fallouts, but then all of a sudden, '76, you got bicycles.
Yeah. How is no one
it's funny because
sorry, continue.
I think they added it into Fallout Miami. I think that was things that they added was bicycles.
Rideable bicycles?
I remember not rideable bicycles, but just like movable static. So you kick it does the same thing as like a shopping cart.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I remember, I think when I first joined the Discord server, I was like, bicycle. Okay, I like this server. Because it had been something in my head where I'm like, we're missing. Because there's bike racks, but no bikes, which I thought was weird.
Yeah. Like, even in the skill bit as well, like down south of the map in Fallout 4, I don't remember seeing any bikes.
Yeah, nah. Yeah. But, like, in the Fallout 4 DLC you have bicycle racks, the squiggly line looking things.
Yeah.
But no bicycles. So it's like, you got a motorcycle, but that's parking.
Yeah. God's sake. Oh, man. This has been such a fun COD pass. Good. I actually really enjoyed myself. Sorry,
glad.
I thought you
were... I was looking at, like, because I also got the art book for Fallout 4, and like a lot of the things that they wanted to add in, just like flavor. It doesn't do anything different. It's just flavor, like different cars, different boats. There was like supposed to be a cruise ship that they didn't add in, like all these other things that I wanted. Because in Manhattan, you do have cruise ships dock and deport and leave and all that. So I wanted to have maybe a crash cruise ship, but there's really no model for it, so I'd have to make one. So I do have people who can help me with the 3D design, so maybe they'll help me with that. But that's it's physically a big project.
Jesus, literally, Jesus.
But in Fallout 76, limos, which is the first time I've seen a limo, and like actual.
Yeah,
I think they had.
I was just thinking, there's like 76 is set in Appalachia, and there's not really any big, massive cities like Metropolis and something like that. Yeah, they have limos, in Washington D.C. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like you'd think the roles would be reversed there. Apparently not.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like. I'm hoping that, because it's engine mostly, that I can just get the same model, or at least base it off of what I've seen. I took a limo and the fire engine. I saw someone actually make their own version, because Bethesda does this weird thing where you can't import from one game to a new game. I don't know why, because in my head, if it's still a Bethesda game, I feel like I should be able to do it. But whatever, it's their thing. Like, I could understand like not Outer World stuff and putting into Fallout, or vice versa. But if I'm gonna go from like Fallout 4 to Fallout, like, I should be able to do that. But whatever, it's their stuff. I guess I can listen to them. But they do allow you to recreate it from scratch. So,
which that's the best option you could really hope for, isn't it? Yeah.
Because I think it has to do with the fact that the people who physically made the objects for the one game got paid, and to add it into a second game without paying them is
just a lot of
gray area,
finicky sort of things happening there.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like the capital waste program
That's
where
where
they
my mind
couldn't use the
immediately went.
voice. Yeah, but you can go back and re-record it, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Ah, yeah, because you're not using copyrighted content at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Bethesda itself owns the script.
Yeah.
And if Bethesda says, "Yeah, sure, you can,"
Yeah.
then.
What do you just when it popped in my mind there, what do you think of, or what are you hoping for Starfield when it comes out, or when it gets?
I'm complete blank for Starfield because Bethesda made Prey, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's not Prey. Prey was a good game.
Yeah.
Not Prey. Honestly, I don't know what I'm expecting because they haven't really said like, hey, this is going to be an RPG versus this is going to be another thing. So I don't want to have any expectations, to be honest, because I feel like as soon as I have an expectation, I'll be sad.
Oh no, I just like asking that because like for me right now I have like no emotional attachment to the name Starfield at all. Like even if 76 didn't come out, I would still have not really much attachment to it. I wouldn't really care until I see it and play it and be like, all right, this is great. But like, I notice a lot of people are like getting their hopes very high for Starfield, and so I've always just been curious what you think of it, and a few others think of it as well.
Yeah, I try to keep my head low and not try to get overhyped for it because I was definitely hyped for, and I definitely enjoyed it in the beginning, but everything that has happened.
Was this the Outer Worlds, sorry?
No, for 76.
Oh, 76. Yeah.
Like, I was excited for it. I had high. Yeah. It was definitely a fun game, but like I still had like a lot of my hopes not met.
I like even in my videos leading up to 76, I had like certain expectations. I had a certain image of the game. Unfortunately, I was not invited to that little press event at my 300 subscriber count. But I thought it was going to be. To be fair, I actually thought it was going to be Atomic MP. See the way Atomic plays in like their sort of promise of that game. I thought that was going to be. That's what 76 was going to be like, and then when I played that, I was like, yeah, that's not what that's like at all. It's like Jesus, but still an alright game, I suppose. Not insanely terrible. It's alright.
No. Like as a game in itself, it's not a bad game. It's definitely a different from all the other Fallout games, so it's gonna be Fallout 76.
Yeah.
But I had high expectations, and I'm trying not to do that for Starfield or even like the new Elder Scrolls, where the Elder Scrolls 6.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to avoid it as much as I can.
I don't like. I think I let myself get hyped when I know something's going to be a sure thing, like God of War. That was a sure thing. God of War 2018. That was a sure thing for me. My hype was met, and I was like, yes, finally.
I'll say like when Fallout 4 came out, I was hyped for Fallout 4, and I was a little bit disappointed by the DLCs, but even still, I was good with Fallout 4. So when they announced Fallout 76, I was like, this is a sure thing. It's just another Fallout game. And I was wrong.
Oh, how wrong you were. I don't know, it'll probably be fucking eating other words when Wastelanders comes in. It's like, it is a Fallout game now.
I'm hoping, I'd be happy to eat my own words.
Yeah, I really want it to be good. I don't want anything to fail, really. I don't like it. I don't like seeing things when they fail. Yeah. So I do
I don't benefit if Bethesda gets screwed over.
Yeah.
I still get screwed over too because I don't get a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Fingers crossed for the new thing, and it should be coming out. They said first quarter 2020. So
wait,
I'm
what? Starfield?
No.
I was about to say wait, hang on, what?
No.
Wastelanders. I was like, Wastelanders Q1. Yeah. Maybe, hopefully. Jesus, I know. Like, fucking with Fallout. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier, and I was going to fucking call him out for it, but someone said like, yes, Fallout 5 in 2021. I'm like, no, you're not going to be seeing that for another decade or something, man.
No, yeah,
you're,
definitely, because they're very adamant on.
Yeah.
So the next game's probably not going to be until 2021, and that's not.
Yeah.
That's going to be most likely Starfield.
Yeah.
And then 3 years after that will probably be Elder Scrolls 6. And then after that, you don't know, because maybe it's a addition to Starfield. Maybe it's going to be
Starfield 76, baby.
Oh god.
At least it comes in before Star Citizen, so it's fine.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But yeah, because you don't know what their plans are, because depending on what they do with Fallout 76, because you remember what they said in the beginning, where it's like, oh, this is going to be good forever.
Yeah.
Well, don't know about that, but it does.
If you allowed
to
mods,
their intentions.
maybe. If you allowed mods, maybe it's possible.
Well, we do have the private servers now. They shitty for a little bit, but once they fix that, I think that would be the first big step towards getting mods for 76.
Yeah,
and I think once that's allowed, I think most of the major issues, other than maybe some of the engine issues, will be able to be fixed with the modding community.
Yeah. I just hope when they mean we'll attempt to include mods, that it won't just be like it has to be Creation Club stuff. Because Creation Club actually would make no sense for that game, because they have the atomic shot, wouldn't they? So, oh well.
But I mean, like, even for Creation Club, the whole point of the Creation Club was out the program to make these mods.
Yeah.
So unless you're gonna give the creation kit to 10 people, like, I don't see the purpose. And honestly, I feel like it would be a business move to give that out to the public, because you'd have like more people interested in buying the base game, or even just going back and playing the base game if you have mods. I do know that the big issue that also is a business side is that if you have, it's going to basically take away from the atomic.
Yeah.
Because if I can just give you as a mod for free, paid, but then at the same time, then it's like, now it's up to Bethesda to give us stuff that's actually worth our money.
Yeah, exactly. They can't just sell off like a toaster for like 500 atom points.
Yeah. No more of that.
Yeah. What was it? Was the last one a fridge? Did I see that correctly? Was there a fridge?
Yeah, there was a fridge for like 700.
That's fucking ridiculous, man. That's insane.
Yes.
I'd rather pay that for a hat than a fucking fridge. I don't care about a fridge. I'm never home. I'm in the wasteland. I don't care about that shit.
There's a YouTube channel called Oxhorn, and they
Oxhorn,
the actual DLC, like what you paid for, what you got for the DLC, and then the Creation Club stuff, what you're paying for it and what you get. And it's like, we're already, like, just with the DLC was a better buy than this other. So it's like, you're already starting to undercut yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at the comments that they're saying that you keep cutting off, and I've noticed that too. But then I'm like, it's fine. It makes sense when the bits are cut off. I just don't want to constantly keep asking you to repeat yourself all the time. I don't want to. Yeah, I feel rude when I do that.
No.
Feels like I'm not listening, but I am.
I broke my headset 2 days ago. My right not attached.
Oh, right. Okay. Please don't tell me you're just like, you've been sitting here for the past hour, like leaning your hand like against, trying to hold this thing together.
Yeah. I was able to.
He was able to
jerry rig it.
To jerry rig it, right?
Yeah. So at least it fits on my head.
Yeah. I'm just imagining like this pure duct tape contraption just like sitting over your head now. But yeah, this has been we've been on live for just over an hour now. So let's get into some questions. So anyone in the chat, whoever has live questions for Adam or myself, please ask them now for the next 10 minutes. But right now, I actually have a few questions from over the Discord server that we can fire over.
Sure.
Fucking some of these questions come from a Discord user called Nem. He has asked me approximately about 25 questions. I'm not going to be answering them all. I'm going to be picking and choosing, because one of them is called "Why does A equal B?" I'm not answering that because I have no idea what you fucking mean. But yeah, like one of these questions, I'll alter it slightly for you, Nem. Not Nem, fucking Adam. What are your highest hopes for the next Fallout game? So the potential Fallout 5 live community ideas from Adam.
Well, I do hope that they take the feedback seriously.
Yeah.
You know, with 76, I feel like they actually did with this whole Wastelanders thing, where they heard everybody was like, "Hey, where the hell are NPCs? Okay, here's NPC. Like, why is there no actual dialogue? Okay, here's actual dialogue." And also took it from Fallout 4, where I hate the 4 options. Give me actual dialogue, RPG style. And they're doing that with the Wastelanders. So I'm hoping that when Fallout 5 comes, they don't decide, I'm just going to do random shit for the hell of it. I'm actually going to listen to the fans and say, like, okay, you wanted, it was fine that we didn't have the karma system, but you did want the reputation system for the different factions. Maybe I'll bring that back. Different things. And like, I also noticed that every game that comes out, the benefits tend to be based off of mods that were made, because that's what the fans want. Survival mode, or just like simple things like sprinting. You can't sprint in Fallout 3. But that was a mod. That was a mod that I had.
In Fallout 4, I think. Yeah.
But sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I hope that they continue with that and actually pay attention to what's the players are looking for and actually are using, as opposed to just like, I'm going to do this for the hell of it. Yeah,
exactly. Like, I understand, like, I always support developers for, like, every entry of a game. People can complain, there's like, oh, why are you changing all this? And I'm like, well, they like to experiment. It's like, it's not really fun doing the exact same thing every time in just a new sort of setting. So I understand why the experiment, just don't do a bad experiment. Do a good experiment, not a bad one. Let's see, another question. Let's see in this little list. What can I pick and choose from? Another Fallout-related thing? Let's go for another Fallout-related thing. Why not? What would you like to be added most to Fallout, Adam?
Added in? I feel like right now there's lack, and this is going to be surprising because there's a lot, but like lack of individualized not NPCs, but the enemy types. Because like I feel like there should be a lot more. I think 70 did a good job with the enemy types. Like there's a lot added in, and then you get the basic, and then you get the irradiated version and the glowing version and bino version and all that. I think that's a good idea too. But I think too, just adding in more things, because like having a deer, and that's the only thing in the forest other than like a mole rat. Like, and I feel like more things should.
All the other creatures got irradiated and died. And I'm like, no, that's not an excuse. You tell me horses don't exist in the world?
Yeah, there's only ravens and seagulls. No other birds. It's all flavor stuff. But to me, I'm a very visual person, so something like that is important to me. But not everybody's going to agree to that.
Yeah. There's a question that is in the chat that you've probably just seen it there by Elemental, also known as Nem. Yeah, this is still Nem. He says, how long does it take to learn the ways of the creation kit? Now, that's an interesting question.
So, I think we mentioned it before, too. There's really no area, so you have to basically learn from experience. So, there are a couple of like minor guides that Bethesda gives, and then I've also used YouTube for a lot of what I had to expand into. I know 7444 was a big one, and a few other places. There's Jarrow and a few other channels that would teach me, but for me personally, I learn by doing. So once I get into the kit and then I start doing things, it's like, okay, well, you guys did this, but I wanted to do something else. I'm gonna change it. And sometimes it's a thing of what's the term where it's like a trial and error.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to go and see, like, okay, like it's in Bethesda already. Like, how did they do it? You see it, you find out their logic, and then you have to reverse engineer their logic into what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as learning the ways of Creation Kit, I'll tell you, I've been doing this for over a year, and I still am learning things.
Yeah.
So
it seems like
depends on.
It seems like a thing where you're never fully learned. You're always learning, like in life.
Definitely.
Yep.
Lifelong learning.
Life lesson. Oh man, but yeah, a question. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say that the good thing though is that there are.
You cut out there. Sorry.
You have that can help you. Maybe not that second, but eventually you'll get someone.
Righty. You cut out there for a wee second. I was like, you'll find someone. I'm like, yes, you'll find someone someday.
Sorry, no, yeah. My froze for a second.
Right.
But yeah, you'll find someone on these other the Confederation of Modders type deal.
Yeah.
It might not be, up to the minute type deal, but you post it one day, come back and the next day, and you've generally got some type of an answer, if not at least a general direction of where to go.
Which I think I might actually I'm able to send invites to people, so I might in the YouTube version of this podcast, I'm going to be leaving that down in the description below for anyone, any sort of modder out there that is a part of the Fallout community and you're not a part of the Confederation of Modders. I'll leave that down below and you can go ask any questions you want, go ask and get some help, or just want to collaborate on something, then you can go there as well. A question that Nem asked, but I actually forgot to ask this earlier, and I was actually it was more along the lines of the creativity thing, where he says here's what do you plan for the future, but then I ask, what do you want to make in the future? What's the next big project after Empire Waits? You got that lined up yet? Or?
So I do have an idea of something that I want.
Yeah.
So where I live right now, I live in New Jersey, which is so New York is close to me. But I grew up in Massachusetts, which Fallout 3 took place in Massachusetts. So I grew up in a different area. I wasn't near Boston. I was closer to the Cape, which is Cape Cod. Yeah. So completely different area. So I do want to have that and kind of connect more easily. You can probably just walk there, because if you can get it all the way down to Lynn, or all the way up to Lynn and all the way down to where that farm is on the septic tank, like that distance is not this, like it's less of a distance than going to where I want to go. Yeah. So I have an idea of what I want, and I kind of want to make it personal. I want to have it more of a story as opposed to the experience, where it's kind of a guided story, but like have it more almost cinematic.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than what I would normally do, but I kind of want to try my hand.
See, that's my first big project in terms of like a sort of show format, in terms of like a actual like TV show, is I'm working on something that is like, it is quite personal to me. Is like and I think that's what thrives creativity as well, is when you take things from your own life and then apply them to your work as well. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm having really fun with it, but it's like it's real life stuff mixed in like with this weird westerny apocalypse thing. It is fucking it's mental. But it's just like I always love explaining that to people, talking to people with that idea, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a story about family and shit like that," and it's like, "Oh, but it's set in this thing." And I'm like, "Oh shit." But yeah, does anyone have any other questions? Let's see. Is there any more? Like, I'm trying to look for like good questions. I'm not saying these questions are shit. I'm just saying they're terrible. Dogs or cats? Right, final question. Are you a dog or cat man, Adam?
Well, I like them both. I live in an apartment, so...
Not good enough.
So I have a cat.
If you have a dog and you also have a cat, and you have to leave one of them behind before the bombs drop, which one would you pick up?
I think I would take the cat, but only as a reason, because the dog is gonna eat a lot more than that cat.
That's true. Very true. But yes, thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of the Mighty Cunapple Show. My personal choice would have been dog. I'm a dog man. Been growing up in dogs all my life. But oh well, the first major difference during the show. But I just want to quickly thank Adam. Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know it's been
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've been trying to set this up for fucking weeks, and the first time we did it, Discord, man. Discord.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be. But it was meant to be. We're here now. We did it. It's all good. I would love to have you back on the show at some point as well. Yeah, I think
I'd be happy to join.
I think we've bonded on a personal level. I think it's been great. But yeah, guys, thank you all for so much for watching. I just want to quickly thank everyone new that is followed during the live stream. It's been great. Thank you so much for jumping in, and hopefully I see you in other shows and other streams as well. But also one more added on thing. People listening over on youtube.com/Bundicot, you're probably like, Kieran, what the fuck is going on over here? Who are you talking to in terms of who these other voices outside of Adam and Kieran? Well, that is actually the Twitch comments. So these all episodes have been live streamed, so go over to twitch.tv/Bundicot and you can watch these episodes live on air. You can ask us questions, talk to us, and do all that sort of shit. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all later. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.